You're joining us at Race Control at Donington Park, the favourite circuit of legends. It's round 2 of the Thundersport GB Championship for 2016.
Welcome to round 2 of the Thundersport GB Championships for 2016. It's time at Donington Park, round 2 of the championship for 2016 for the Monex Europe Thundersport GP1. There's Sara-Kirsty, our resident Eskimos, here today in the cold wind and rain. And there is Josh Day. Josh, one of the pre-season favourites to try and win this championship, but he's up against it, the Crank Racing Kawasaki rider. This GP1 class fierce in 2016, and it's a big tyre battle as well. Tyre wars for the lot of them. There is a gap on pole position. John Ingram, former GP1 champion, was supposed to be on there. I understand that he's okay. Maybe he just doesn't fancy it in these conditions. He's not, of course, going to be featuring in the championship for the entire season, so maybe he's had one look outside and thought, no thanks, I'll watch this one from pit wall, and that might well be quite wise. It was Craig Neve that left Brands Hatch, our opening championship round, as the series leader. Craig Neve sports the number 4 plate on his machine, but it's number 2 there, Josh Day, that has got away fastest of all. Lee Williams there, number 94, who was second in the championship after the opener, of course moving up from the 600 championship last year. The Liverpool rider Lee Williams, he's there in third. Dan Hegarty, a TT regular, shall we say, is out there and will be incredibly quick. Of course, he's out there getting himself prepared for a few stints at British Championship, but mainly for the roads. A number of riders that are going road racing this year having the odd trip to a Thundersport event. And there is Josh Day that leads, but just pulling up alongside him already is Dan Hegarty on the RTR Motorcycles Kawasaki. Lee Williams also there on the Kawasaki, the Team Willow High-Tech machine, in third place. Josh Day didn't have it all his own way back at Brands Hatch. He managed to win one race, but then unfortunately failed to finish the other 2, and so he's got a little bit of an uphill climb in the early stages. There's Lee Williams though, moving up into second place. Nice move that, down at the end of the start-finish straight. Dan Hegarty just clawing for some grip. You can see that it's wet out there, but it's not completely soaking wet as they head down through Craner curves. Rider in fourth there, just closing up on the trio out front, is certainly known to us here at Thundersport GB. That's Dave Jackson. Now, Dave Jackson is a former supermoto rider that burst onto the scene at Thundersport GB a few years back and was immediately challenging it and mixing it with fellow Lincolnshire rider Phil Crowe. He then went into British Championship, and he's been racing in British Championship since then, and comes for the odd play at Thundersport from time to time. And he's closing it up here just onto the back of the trio. We're on board with Josh Day, who leads. That's Lee Williams in second place. There is Dan Hegarty in third, number 18, and then the blue bike, Dave Jackson. What a move that was, though, from Lee Williams. He now leads, and look at Josh Day. He's gone from first down to third, and maybe even fourth. Oh, and Dave Jackson's gone down. Some contact there with Josh Day. Josh Day almost went down to fourth overall, and as he tipped it in, the front end of Dave Jackson has gone down, and unfortunately, the BMW rider out of this race, having closed up to the front. Not so happy with that one, and maybe we'll see him out to play a little later on. Now, that has just cost Josh Day a little bit. It is now Lee Williams that leads overall from Dan Hegarty. Number 94, Williams from Liverpool. Number 18, Hegarty from Bingham on the RTR Motorcycles Kawasaki. And there you see Dan Hegarty flying through, the road racer. You'll see at the TT, he had a stunning effort at the TT just last year in the superbike class, finishing in 13th, and he's not been racing on the roads for all that long, so one of the rising stars, you could say, on the roads, Dan Hegarty. Lee Williams there having a little look over his shoulder. Of course, he'll know that Dan Hegarty doesn't feature in terms of the championship, the bigger picture overall for 2016, so he won't want to get himself involved in too many scuffles, but Josh Day almost certainly does, as we see there, number 92, that's Mark Sykes. Another rider out in the field at the moment, we just saw a quick shot of him a moment ago, is Johan Delaney, number 125. Johan is the current Irish Superbike champion, so he's out there mixing it with these guys, and just goes to show you how quick the pace is at Thundersport in the GP1 class. The man who's made the biggest jump and leap, of course, Lee Williams, who came up from the 600 category last year, the Formula 600 champion with this series. Dan Hegarty it is that leads this race though here at Donington Park in the damp. Lee Williams, number 94 in second. Josh Day now, after the moment over at the chicane, has now regrouped, recovered, and closes on Lee Williams. Could we be looking there at second and third at the two men that will fight for this year's championship? You wonder, as Josh Day goes up underneath Lee Williams and almost went underneath Dan Hegarty as well. We exit McLean's up towards Coppice. Blind approach to this one, and there you see Hegarty getting really caught up with a back marker, and so does Lee Williams. That worked out brilliantly for Josh Day, and he's managed to go up into first place. Unfortunately for both Hegarty and Lee Williams, they really did get caught up there by Chris Dixon. Dixon's out there on a 600 though, so he's immediately hampered before he even gets going. Into the chicane we go, and all of a sudden Josh Day has some clear air out front. Further back in this race, I can tell you that Richard Blunt, of course, a former Thundersport Golden Era Superbike champion, is up inside the top 6. Chris Barnes and Michael Neves are having some decent battles out there with Delaney and Sykes and John Fisher as well, Curtis Rothwell. Craig Neve, incidentally, who led the championship coming into round 2, went AWOL on lap 1. There is Chris Barnes, number 21, just up ahead of 13, Richard Blunt. I'm not quite sure on the colour scheme there for Richard Blunt, a mustard yellow. I don't know if that's all that was left in the garage of Dave, but they need to sort that out. That's an awful colour, I'm afraid, as we see a change for the lead. There is Blunty, look, on that mustard yellow, faded yellow, shall we call it. There's Michael Neves just up behind him. Michael Neves, of course, won in similar conditions to these at Rockingham last year after deciding to go for a really good tyre decision in the race. But out front, this is it for your race win. You've got Dan Hegarty leading from Josh Day. Lee Williams now a bit further adrift. Hegarty looking to try and get himself across the line and get that win here at Donington Park ahead of Josh Day. Josh Day's not given this one up just yet. This is the battle then further back for 4th place. Michael Neves, number 33 on the Prime Factors BMW, now going past Blunty. So Neves now up into 4th place. Richard Blunt demoted back to 5th, and Chris Barnes then in 6th place ahead of Irish Superbike champion Johan Delaney and Mark Sykes in 8th. John Fisher is then 9th. John Fisher is 9th, Stuart Martin 10th, and that's because of a jump start penalty for Stuart Martin. Otherwise he would have found himself 1 place up. This is your race leader then, Hegarty, looking in good shape here, getting himself prepared, of course, for the road racing season. You've got to be careful when you go over the white lines and the curbs there. You can see there are still quite a few patches of standing water around here at Donington Park. The sun might be out, but it is not warm and it is not grippy. 2nd place there for Josh Day. It looks like he might have just waved a white flag here in this race and will be settling for 20 points, but in the context of things, that's not bad at all for Josh Day. And what's happened there to his left fairing? It's completely missing. He's lost the side of his bike there as the last lap flag comes out. And Dan Hegarty, it is, that still has this lead. Saw some yellow bodywork there on the start-finish straight, so that probably does belong to Josh Day. And you just wonder whether the contact with Dave Jackson from a few laps ago into the chicane, eventually it pulled a few of the... well, that just looks so bizarre, doesn't it? It looks like a street fighter there in 2nd place. Either way, it's not really affecting Josh Day. He's still got his head down. He's still fighting away. There is your race leader then, Dan Hegarty. And Josh Day's not given up the ghost here. He's still looking to try and win this race. He'll certainly know that he's not got any bodywork there as they head up towards Coppice Corner. Lee Williams in a comfortable 3rd at the moment. And despite his early charges, it looks like he's settled for a podium finish. But here we go then, just a couple of corners left. Now, will this back marker here play a part? I say back marker, it's Stuart Martin who's up inside the top 10. That's how quick the front guys are going. And Josh Day launched an assault there into the chicane. It's not going to quite happen for him, but it will be close across the line. The checkered flag comes out. It's a little bit closer than I think Dan Hegarty was hoping for, and in fact it is 0.02 of a second between Dan Hegarty and Josh Day as they go across the line there. Dan Hegarty it is then that takes the overall win here in the Monex Europe Thundersport GP1 class. Josh Day second, that will do his championship a lot of good. Lee Williams third, Michael Neves fourth. Richard Blunt finishes in 5th place with Chris Barnes in 6th. And there's your race winner in the middle, Dan Hegarty.
Dan, winner. Obviously you're going to be happy with that, but it was really tough there because it was like sort of cat and mouse really all the way through, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was unbelievable because if you're online, you know, it's like you're basically in the dry. But as soon as you went offline a little bit, especially with it being Donington Park, it's unbelievably slippy. So you could be at full lean and go offline a little bit, have somebody go underneath you, and it'd be carnage all of a sudden. Had 3 or 4 moments out there. It was a case of just steadying up into the corners and finding the dry line and getting on the throttle really.
And it's a pretty long race really, but have you got some people to thank as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank Bell Helmets, sponsored me again this year. DCS, Delve Control Systems, RTR Motorcycles, Pewterline as well, and then Armour Leathers, and Paul and the Tomos, you know, they're always behind me. So yeah, it's a great win and I really appreciate it. It's nice to be in a winner's place actually. It's been a couple of years.
Excellent, well done Dan.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
We'll be back with more Thundersport GP action from Donington Park after this short break.
Michelin, a better way forward.
Welcome back to sunny Donington. Thundersport GP1 Race 2. The sun shining down now. A very different look to the circuit compared to what we had earlier on. Now, John Ingram is back on the grid. He missed out earlier on, so the sun's got his hat on, and so is John. But Race 1 winner, Dan Hegarty, is missing from the grid. So a like-for-like substitution, not a bad one. John Ingram, of course, former champion of this GP1 class before, and would be seen as one of the favourites for it. There he is, number 56, on pole position alongside Josh Day, who's got his fairings back on his machine. Away from the line we go then. On the inside there is number 94 with a red helmet, Lee Williams. He looks to try and get the whole shot, and he's backing it in down into turn 1. We're on board here with Josh Day, who was second on the grid. Just looking back to Jody Lees there, number 85. Always nice to see Jody back out there. Very, very handy rider indeed. So it's Lee Williams that has the advantage from John Ingram. Number 56 in third is Josh Day, and fourth is Jody Lees. very competitive field as ever here at Donington Park. Further back, well, it just goes to show you how competitive when you're looking at the back end of the field, and Richard Blunt is there. It's looking very strong. Craig Neve is up there as well, number 4, of course, the championship leader coming into Donington Park. He may not be the championship leader when we leave Donington, unfortunately, after not scoring any points earlier on, but it is Lee Williams that has the advantage early stages here ahead of John Ingram. Ingram closing in. There he is, number 56, looking very strong down into the chicane, and then number 2, the Crank Racing Kawasaki rider, Josh Day, trying to keep in touch with this group. Then it's Jody Lees and Craig Neve. A bit further back there you can see Michael Neves, Dave Jackson, Jonathan Lodge, and there is John Ingram up the inside then of Lee Williams. Now Lee Williams will just have to try and do everything he can to stay in touch with Ingram. The Ram has got a formidable reputation in this class, and when everything is going nicely for him, he can win a race on just about anything. Accomplished rider John Ingram struggled a bit last year. Of course, he was trying out a few things in British Championship. It just didn't quite work out. He's been out on the roads as well and has tried his luck out in there. He's a very good rider, and every time he comes for a visit at Thundersport GB, he is fighting for the race wins. He's not dealt with Lee Williams too often though, so we look back here from Josh Day. That's Craig Neve then, number 4, just up behind him. Craig out there on the Cormac Flexi Hydraulic Kawasaki, and there's a great shot there, great onboard shot of how Slipstream works on the back straight at Donington Park, and Craig Neve moves up into 3rd place ahead of Josh Day now. Onto the start-finish straight we go once more. Ingram it is that leads from Lee Williams. Lee Williams not being broken just yet, bit of a gap back then to 3rd, Craig Neve, Josh Day and Jody Lees. Then further back we've got Michael Neves, Jonathan Lodge. Jonathan Lodge, who's had a tough start to the season so far. Make no mistake about it, he will be back and he will be fighting for wins at some stage this season. But of course he's got a brand new bike, he's testing out a few things. He had standard road suspension back at Brands Hatch, and so perhaps these first couple of rounds just come at the wrong time for Jonathan Lodge, but he will be fighting for wins at some point very soon. Matt Truelove, he's out there as well. Nice to have Matt back, of course, our Sportsman Elite 600 champion from last year. Matt will be out in the 600 race a little later as well. 29 now is Kingsley Ruddy, a regular in the paddock. Number 90, Rory Parker. And John Fisher as well. So, out front, John Ingram leads. Lee Williams keeping him very honest. Craig Neve in 3rd. Then Jody Lees now up into 4th place. So, Josh Day has just lost a place. Craig Neve looking to try and get himself back some points, having lost out altogether in race 1. Lee Williams has a very strong chance of leaving Donington Park with a championship lead here, but at the moment he's got eyes only for the race win. Through Craner curves we go. John Ingram won plenty of races here at Donington Park. Lee Williams, his first season on a 1000cc motorcycle. He's handling the transition incredibly well. Further back there is, well, look at that. 2 brothers racing side by side. Harry Truelove and Matt Truelove. Number 15, Harry. Matt, the older brother, now pulling a move out. Nicely done there. Matt Truelove, who has changed motorcycles since last season. Of course, he was on the Yamaha. He's now on the Astro TTR Honda. Just getting used to life on that. Of course, Matt and Harry trying their luck out at British Championship this year, and they'll race at the odd Thundersport from time to time as well. There's Michael Neves, number 33, just putting a lap on Stephen Patterson. Nevesy up inside the top 6 or 7. Great rider, Michael Neves, on the Prime Factors BMW. He, from time to time, can get himself up there on the podium. Of course, MCN journalist as well, so spends a lot of time testing out the world's motorcycles. As we see there, the 2 brothers once more, Matt and Harry. This is John Ingram though, and John has just started to really plant the seed now. He's not put a foot wrong in this race and has broken away from Lee Williams, and I think that Lee Williams is probably doing the sensible thing here. and has weighed up exactly what was going on. We just saw Jonathan Lodge going through there ahead of Matt Truelove, Curtis Rothwell and Harry Truelove. Josh Day, incidentally, who's currently just in 4th place, might be nursing 1 or 2 bruises after a huge crash into Redgate Corner just yesterday, so he'll be pleased to get himself away from here at Donington and then getting himself over to Snetterton, which will be coming up. Well, the actual event itself will be the last day of April, 1st of May, and then we'll be with you on your TV screens a few weeks after that. But John Ingram here looks very comfortable on his return to Thundersport GB. Lapping in the 109s at the moment, and that is only half a second off the lap record set by Jess Traylor. And when you consider that it was a very greasy start to the day and it's still not exactly tropical here, they are pretty good times being posted by the race leader. Craig Neve, we just saw going through your picture ahead of Josh Day. It's looking like being quite an interesting championship, this one. Once Jonathan Lodge gets himself back into the mood of things as well, you've got a four-way fight, I think it's fair to say, between Lee Williams, Josh Day, Craig Neve and Jonathan Lodge. So getting as many points on the board early on here going to be crucial, and it's working out in favour there of Lee Williams in 2nd place. This is John Ingram then, who starts the last lap. And there you see he's about to put a lap on Richard Blunt, who's in 16th place. And that's how quick the race leader is going. There's Harry Truelove a bit further back. Harry at the moment on a 600 in the GP1 class is on for some decent points. There's 77, John Fisher. John Fisher's about to be lapped in a race as well. It's remarkable here. There is Lee Williams still going for it. Number 92 there is Mark Sykes. Him and Harry Truelove fighting it out here in the closing stages of this race. And there is number 171, John Robb. So then, coming into the chicane for the final time, John Ingram back at Thundersport GB and back to winning ways. 25 points and a trophy going his way. The former champion does it again. Lee Williams, though, how important will those 20 points be for him in 2nd place? In the background there, you can just see Craig Neve will take 3rd, and after the DNF in race 1, those 16 points will come in handy for him. Josh Day takes 4th place ahead of Jody Lees, who was out there on the Yamaha R1, and Michael Neves with a 6th place finish. There's your top 3 then overall: John Ingram, Lee Williams and Craig Neve. Now then, what's this done to the championship? Lee Williams it is then that does take the lead of the championship, but only by 2 points. Craig Neve there in 2nd, Josh Day a bit of work to do in 3rd, ahead of Michael Neves, John Ingram and Phil Crow. And in this GP1 Sportsman, it's Paul Charman who's locked on points with Michael Tustin, with Ash Stone in 3rd, ahead of Matt Stevenson, Richard White and Sonny Martin.
John, nice win there. Lovely to have you back with Thundersport GB. You do come and see us now and again. I know your predominant feature is the roads these days, but it is lovely to see you here.
Yeah, it's always nice to come back to the Thundersport paddock. You know, we've just used this weekend as a setup just to get me ready for the Northwest and the TT. Basically, it's been a difficult weekend for everyone. You know, anyone that's fell off injured, you know, I wish them all the best. Luckily, we've kept upright this weekend. We've not got a great deal of budget, so it's nice to go away with no repair bills. Thoroughly enjoyed the weekend. Had some decent scraps with a few lads. You know, fantastic.
Excellent, well done. Anyone to thank while you're here?
Yeah, just us, the Pallet Brothers. Anyone who joins my, 56 club, that's going stronger each year. It's just something that I set up on Facebook. People pay into it. It's 56 quid to join. I carry a gallery board round. It's every meeting with me, and at the end of the year you just get a little thank you, signed photograph and a Christmas card. So I think it's just nice for people to get involved, and when I do come into these paddocks, I help the young lads, try and bring them on and give them a bit of my knowledge.
So the sun sets on another round for Thundersport GB, and let's hope it follows us to Snetterton. That's next up, round 3. See you then.